She said, yes, I'd love coaching from you. So our first coaching conversation happens. And we're talking, having this great conversation. And she was talking about like, mistakes. Like she makes mistakes and she gets worried about it and nervous and anxious. She makes mistakes. So I said, you really need to embrace your mistakes. You really need to embrace your mistakes. So she got up, walked across the room, and gave me a hug.
I got it.
I'm still waiting.
I was not sure if I should react or not because.
Oh, okay. I get it now.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
That's okay.
Can we do something like a horse walks into a bar? You know that one?
Nah.
Oh,
That's a coaching joke.
Hey,
That's a coaching joke.
Why the long face?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Ryan, how are you?
All good. How about you?
We see some faces too. Raylyn.
Raylyn, do you see Raylyn, Regina?
I see Raylyn.
Oh my God.
Girl,
yes, it has.
It's been a while.
This hair keeps growing. Look at this. I look completely different.
We've got pandemic hair. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Shaba. Oh my God. How you feeling, Shaba?
So. I think it's just being tired. I don't think it's any more than that.
Okay. Yeah, well, and then we got Marcelo stepping in. Leon, you believe that? The bearded man is here. The professor.
And we got Marcela. How are you?
Marcela's there too? What is that?
Yes, Marcela.
I'm good. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We can't see you. We can't see you.
We can hear you though.
Where's that exercise you start? Where's the exercise? Let's go. There you go.
Are you running?
Yeah.
How many miles?
I'm running about 5 miles every other day and then about 8 to 10 on the weekends.
Wow.
Regina, I'm going to join her. I'm going to join her in the run.
No, como que you're going to join me? You said you were going to start running.
Yeah. Next year we got it next year.
No, you said tomorrow. That would have been Sunday.
I got to get going. Yeah, okay.
That's too much work. But she's a marathoner, so that's awesome.
I know. She's embarrassing me here.
That's awesome.
Our apologies. It's just there's a lot of familiar faces that we haven't seen in a long time. So
No, good. Yeah, no. It's fine.
Meeting time.
Yeah, let's do it. It's
This is
fine.
our happy hour meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How did you know that I had a drink handily? How did you know that I had a frosty beverage nearby?
Oh my
Yes,
goodness,
of course.
Marcelo.
Close my door. Give me a second.
Some of us are still not showing. Saba, show that video. Come on. We know you're there.
All right.
Look at you. And Ramesh, you're not showing your face. Come on, man. Come on.
He did before.
Come on.
He'll come back.
I know.
He's there.
I know you grew that. I know you grew that beard. So I know you grew that beard. So you can't be hide behind that.
Marcelo, my video is up. I never hide.
Yeah, you got to open up your video. You gotta open up your video.
There you are. There you are. And I see Raylyn. Good to see you. All right. Who else are we seeing here? All right. A lot of new faces. Awesome.
Hey, you guys in the agile world are a little too fun. You got to be a little bit more boring. Okay,
hey man. It was a long day. Everybody deserves a frosty beverage.
Yes.
Right.
I think we're about ready. How many?
All right, Victoria.
7.
Let's give it like I don't know. Let's give it like 2 minutes, maybe.
Sounds good.
Okay. Marcelo, give us a joke.
Oh,
Good one, Rick. Good one.
there are so many. I don't even want to go there, man.
Anybody else? Anybody else want to give a joke?
I don't have a joke, but hey, Ramesh, I really like that poster that you have behind you. Where'd you get that? That's a big one.
That's my online training setup, guys. You see how
Yeah.
the whole thing and my TV, my backup laptops, my water, coffee. I live here, I sleep here, I stand, I sit.
I'll share with you an old, and I mean like 30-year-old, maybe even more joke. What did the object-oriented programmer say to the non-object-oriented programmer?
Oh my God.
I'll see you later.
Oh my God.
Only a developer would get that joke. I'll see you later.
Okay, we got it.
It's a bad joke. Well,
Yeah,
you didn't say it had to be a good joke.
It is a bad joke.
The funny part is that I actually heard that joke today from one of our developers, and I swear to you, I hadn't heard it in at least 20 some odd years. And it was just like, why did you do this to me today?
So Regina, why did you sit in a garage-like environment while Rick is enjoying in some other nice place? What's going on?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I would have had Rick out in the garage.
Listen, I'm the only one. I have a safe bicycle behind me.
There you go.
There you go. I'm missing my safe picture, but I have a very safe bicycle hanging behind me.
Yeah, things don't go right, she can get away.
That's the backup bicycle, right? That's the special
Exactly,
bicycle.
man. She's ready for the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Smile on.
I thought you were going to say, Regina, why did the chicken cross the road?
Exactly. I thought he was going to say that too. I don't know why.
Wow, and we thought my joke was bad.
God.
All right, guys, it's almost Friday. Thank God. I don't know about any of you, but I'm so excited. It's almost Friday. Even though every day is kind of like a Sunday, but you know, in new normal. How we doing? How we doing, Leon?
We're doing good. I think we are at around 28 right now.
Anna, I want to see your video, Anna. I see you there, Anna. Just turn on that video. Fix up your hair and turn on that video. I think she just left as soon as I said that. Uh-oh. I'm gonna have to call her up.
Yeah.
Just for those of you that are calling in, welcome, welcome. We're all a lot of old friends that haven't seen each other for a long time, so. So now we got new friends. Now we got new friends.
Oh, what's that? A phone? What are you
Chicken.
showing us? Who's that?
It's a chicken crossing the road, but it's
Oh, but it's what?
reflection.
Nice.
See if I can get it brighter.
Wow.
It's hard to see.
So
Yeah.
just to be clear, are we waiting for art, Leon? Is that what we're doing?
No,
No, if we do that, it'll never happen.
I think he's still at Publix since this morning.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're ready, guys. All right, we got more videos.
Let me know if you're ready, because I can go make a Jack and Coke really quick while we're waiting.
What do you tell software engineers when they fail? Get better next time.
Oh,
Yeah, that's software jokes. Raylin, were you really gonna go get a drink? Because we don't want to hold you back. How quick is that drink?
hey,
Are
I
you
fully
gonna
support
share
that.
it with everyone?
I fully support that, considering that what's in that glass is a gin and tonic.
Why did the software engineer reality TV show get canceled?
Oh,
People thought it seemed too scripted.
Oh God.
Okay, guys, we're getting worse. The
I
jokes are
had
getting
to
worse
mention
and
jokes,
worse.
didn't I?
Like, I'd rather do the
and,
chicken cross the road.
see, you should have stuck with my joke.
Yeah.
It was very G-rated.
It's getting drier and drier.
That's the
and
problem.
drier.
I can't remember any clean jokes.
I know that is a problem. That is a problem.
Wow. Yeah. So that is a measure of longevity. The fewer clean jokes you remember, the longer you've been around.
Here's one specific thing. What do you call a guy with no arms and no legs floating in the ocean?
Oh my
Oh,
God! Don't go there.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
Don't go.
Okay. I'll bite. What do you call a guy with no arms and no legs floating in the ocean?
Bob.
All right, all right.
Oh.
All right, we're getting bad, guys. That's it. No more. No.
Leon, I think
I think that's a cue for you to start.
On that note,
Yeah.
wow.
No.
Yes. On that note, save me, Leon.
Yes.
Save me.
Yeah, so welcome everyone. Welcome South Florida Agile Association members. Welcome folks interested in SAFe 5.0. We are transformation experts, and I am Leon Sabarsky. And we also have Mejor Maravilla, Regina Batista.
Agile Foundation.
Wonder Woman.
Oh, scaling.
Yes, Wonder Woman.
Uh-huh.
Wonder Woman. So yes, we'll be presenting what's new in SAFe 5.0. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Woohoo!
Woohoo! I can see the excitement.
Right? 5.0.
Oh.
Yes.
All right. So man. Hold on just one second. So today.
So let me just talk a little bit about the South Florida Agile Association.
Yeah,
so
go
guys,
ahead.
This is a organization that we meet on a regular basis. We've had really major success in the last couple of events. I don't know if all of you have participated, but we had over 1,000 people in the last 5 events show up to our events. We've partnered up with the PMI, yes, the PMI, and we're doing very global events. So they're really, really exciting. And I want to actually beat the 300 mark, like one event that goes over 300. So that's my intentions. And we're having more coming up. So not on improving your interviewing skills, right? Oops, am I still here?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thought I saw a glitch in the matrix.
We're going to bring up the upcoming courses too.
Okay, awesome. Again, my computer's glitching here for some reason.
It's okay, don't worry.
But, so again, join us every week. We'll have an event where we're creating a whole series behind this, and it's all. How much is it, Marcelo? How much do we charge?
It's free as in beer.
Free as in beer. Okay. So it's us really giving back to the community to help out, right? So hopefully you guys enjoy the activities, and we're not here just on a one-time basis. So the ideas behind this is that you can chat with us. We're going to give you discount codes for events. You know, so we're really out there trying to help you out. Okay. So thank you again for joining us.
And I heard free beer.
Free beer. Yeah, that's all you heard of my conversation. It's the only thing you heard was free beer. Gotcha.
Just kidding.
We had him at the free beer.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me introduce Regina. Regina Batista.
Hello, welcome everybody. Great to see you all. Now it's been like a weekly cadence that we've had with most of you. Regina Batista, aka Wonder Woman, just online for Zoom, not outside of that. But we're very excited. There's a lot of great new topics, great learning opportunities with SAFe 5.0. And so Leon's put together a great presentation for all of you today. We can also help answer any questions for those of you that have not taken any SAFe courses. But SAFe 5.0 has a ton of new certifications. We've got a ton of new focus on business agility, customer centricity. They've even thrown in design thinking. It's very exciting. They've made it a lot more holistic. So we're going to share as much as we can with you all and help answer all your questions, okay? We also have some upcoming discount codes for weekend SAFe trainings. And you see the discount code in the bottom there. We're doing 20% right now because of everybody's situation. We understand, you know, these are hard times for everyone. So if you are interested in a class or you know somebody who's interested in a class, please let us know and come see us at coaching.com. Thank you.
Yeah, so there are a ton of classes in May. So, and then on Saturdays, what do we do on Saturdays, Rick?
We have a Taste of Agile. Yes, a Taste of Agile. So for 2 hours, we just, you know, bring a lot of people that are interested in learning a little bit about Agile, or even people that are advanced in Agile. Last weekend, we had a really good event, and we actually collaborated and talked about our own, challenges. And I think we all got good value. So we said we were going to do this for the next, for this month. But if we could dedicate 2 hours, on a weekend, just early morning, get it out of the way, have that great conversation, meet people, to have it as a working session rather than just someone, speaking to you one direction. So it's very exciting, and please join me. I would love to have you there. I think we have a pretty good turnout for this week as well. So again, I want to get to the 300 mark. When I get to the 300 mark, then I think we've done the next step.
So it's Saturdays, what times?
From my understanding, 8:30, is that correct?
Yeah, 8:30, 10:30.
8:30,
Yes,
10:30.
It's Mother's Day friendly.
Yes. So hope to see you there. Tell your friends. And I'm Leon Sabarsky. So I've been over 20 years in IT and Agile evangelist for the past decade. Regulated industries, healthcare, and government. And done a lot with large organizations, Blue Cross Blue Shield, WellCare in Tampa, Florida. And speak a lot at Agile and Scrum conferences. Really enjoy working with transformation experts. And I'm Tampa based, so I'm over in Tampa. So just across the way from everyone, or wherever you are. And happy to be here. So our agenda for today, we're going to be talking about all the new and different changes for SAFe 5.0, the new big picture, the new SAFe overview, business agility front and center, and the self-assessment. 2 new competencies, organizational agility and continuous learning culture. There's a new level in SAFe, essential SAFe. Some revamped competencies, and we'll be going through those. A focus on business teams. 2 new themes, customer centricity and design thinking. We have a new core principle number 10, organizing around value. There are some House of Lean updates, and there are also some implementation roadmap updates. And we'll be touching on all 12 of those items. But first, we'd like to do a poll everywhere. And in the chat, there'll be a link to the poll everywhere up here, or you can go to pollev.com, Leon Sabarsky 601. And what we'd like some feedback from you on is, in one word, what's one thing that you're curious about regarding SAFe and or SAFe 5.0? So go ahead, after that link, and type in your own one word.
Could be a topic of interest that you guys might have questions about.
All right, we got leadership.
Fuck you.
All right, let's see if we get any that sort of get bigger here. I like how it changes every time.
There we go. We got management. The key word.
I saw
Rick, did you post like 5 times?
5 times, yes. There was no restrictions, so hey.
I kept hitting it.
Oh, hey, it's Raylan. I'm having difficulty over here on the computer. Can someone type in finance for me?
Finance, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a delay.
Yeah, that's okay. Marcelo, type in finance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Management, leadership,
Leadership.
certifications.
Yep.
It's not design thinking.
Upsert. That's a word. Upsert. Design, project, lean, safe implementation. Lean thinking enablers. I like how they, portfolio upserts, implementation, employment. There we go. Finance. So I think we have about 5 finances. Oh, there we go. Now it's starting to get interesting.
Yeah, but I put an exclamation point after Ray Lynn's. I put
You always got to break the rules.
That's just how we roll.
Yep. So thinking finance, design, lean, upsert, management.
So Leon, so the perception of this activity that you're going to do after this or the conversation, are we assuming we know 5.0 and we're going to learn the newer stuff just in case people are out there that might not know SAFe?
No, we're assuming that you don't know, you might not know the new items in 5.0, the essentially the upgrade or the new version of 5.0.
Okay, but is there anybody new? Curious, just a quick, is there anybody new to
yeah,
SAFe?
let's throw that out. So is there anybody that hasn't heard of SAFe at all, curious about SAFe, period?
I think Andrew raised his hand.
I know what it is, so it's a different question.
Oh.
All right, right.
Just
He
new
knows what
to
it
the
is.
subject.
And somebody put a frowny face. Again, Marcelo probably did that.
No, it was not me.
No, it's not. He thought it was Marcelo, not Marcel.
Oh, Marcelo, yes, maybe he did it.
Yeah.
No, it's
He
not
looks
maybe.
guilty.
It's not
He
maybe.
does.
I'm
Always
always,
Marcelo's fault.
I'm all you see, every time.
So again, if you're here and you don't know much about SAFe, okay, just understand we can talk to you on the side. There's Anna. Anna, we could talk to you on the side and we can have additional conversations to help you through that. So just be aware of some of these topics that might be a little bit advanced. We will work with you. So just be aware.
All right, so I think, management's big, finance, design, thinking, lean, upsert, leadership. We have employment, certification, start, translating, business agility, implementation. A lot of good stuff here. So very cool. So this helps us with the context, and also, of course, might help with some of the topics. And we're certainly going to be talking about certification too, and design thinking too. So I think thinking design thinking. Okay, moving on. A lot going on with the new big picture. So they call the SAFe framework and on the website new big picture. So see all the red boxes that we have up there. Here are all the new items. And I kind of want to pick out some things, and I'm going to go around maybe clockwise, starting with business agility. So you see business agility at the top. There's a new focus on business agility. It's not that business agility wasn't a focus, but it's clear now and a part of the big picture and woven throughout SAFe 5.0. So everything traces back to business agility. So really new focus on that. On the upper right, the measure and grow. So there's a new measure and grow assessments and practices. So measure and grow now is an important part of the big picture, and nested inside the big picture. On the right, you see essential with a box around it, mid screen. So essential SAFe is now where we're combining the program and team levels into one level. So it used to be team and program, now they're combined into essential. We go sort of the bottom, there is more clarity on continuous delivery pipeline flow in the iterations. So you're seeing there that it's kind of nested in there in the blue arrows that are sort of going up. So that's there. And then of course the continuous delivery pipeline right above there. So this idea where we're, again, interweaving, instantiating continuous delivery into the model everywhere. Going to kind of right above there, there's a focus on customer centricity and design thinking. So that's right there, front and center, also in the middle of the big picture. The bigger, taller rectangle there, we're having agile teams beyond technology. So you see now it has business, dev, ops, and support. So now we have business teams as a part of SAFe and a part of the big picture. And you see that little red box there for teams. So we have business there. So that's now adding to the roles at each of the levels. And then sort of going top down, we have a new competency, organizational agility in the top left. Along the left-hand nav, we have refactored enterprise solution delivery, which used to be previously business solutions and lean systems engineering. Agile product delivery now, which is a revamped DevOps and release on demand. And then a new competency along with organizational agility, which is continuous learning culture. So clearly a lot of changes in 5.0 for the big picture. So if you have questions or comments on this, just go ahead and use the chat. And our folks, Marcelo and folks will go ahead and bring it up, and and Regina and I can go ahead and address your questions slide by slide. You don't have to wait till the end. So feel free to use the chat.
So the first view at this, Leon, it just feels like a lot, you know, like a lot of things have changed.
Yep.
But yet it has been looked simplistic, I guess, in the bottom.
To teach and to understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially people that are new and that are taking the courses for the first time. So now as instructors, we actually have to take the time to explain that bottom section a little bit more, because when you look at it as like a whole picture, you know, it's kind of hard to understand. You got to break it down, but it's still the same. All the same components are there. We just have to explain that it's divided between the team and the program. But the new configuration is called Essential for those of you that are doing your upgrades to 5.0, or those of you that took the exams. It's called Essential. And some companies are just implementing that bottom part. And so that's like the basis, the foundation right now.
So, and this is all on the test. So if you're taking the 5.0 upgrade test, all of this is on the test. And there's also a new SAFe overview. So I really like this personally. So just as in the big picture, we have business agility at the top, along with also measure and grow. The 7 core competencies are there, and you see them all arranged. Within execution on the left and strategy on the right. So there's 7 core competencies with customer centricity in the middle, and there are 21 dimensions. So essentially 3 dimensions for each of the 7 core competencies. Left side execution, right side strategy. The bottom is lean agile leadership, and that's a really key part of SAFe. Center is the customer, of course, as I said, and the top right is measure and grow. So I love this view. So it's easy to understand what are the core competencies for SAFe and all the different dimensions in one view with the customer at the center.
Leon, when you put continuous learning culture, that is so key for me when I work with executives, and that they're highlighting that as something that, to me, that's spectacular. Because a lot of the transformation that I do, I don't actually start with saying, you got to build this whole framework. I start building that continuous improvement learning culture, which leads in to a lot of the foundation that helps me transform organizations. So it's really good.
Yeah, Regina. Yeah, Regina, which ones resonate with you?
So here's the thing: we got a lot of people on this call that are in leadership, right?
Mhm.
So when you guys are looking at your organization, and that's what I love about the SAFE framework. I mean, it's not perfect, and it does, and everything that it has, it bits and pieces from other frameworks as well, and they've just done a nice job in putting the package together. You can look at the areas of your organization that has the biggest pain points. That's really the approach when you look at this as a leader. So if you look at the different areas, say, hey, where's my organization not moving forward? Like, where are we struggling? And then you can focus in those areas, and it has some really great tools that you can take back to your companies and say, you know what, let's focus on lean portfolio management. How can we improve our portfolio management practices? Or, you know what, let's focus on the culture side, which is that continuous culture part that Rick was talking about.
Mhm.
The team and technical agility. How can we, that's engineering best practices there. Product delivery, that's the whole part of the customer experience now, that a lot of companies are creating customer experience centers. They're bringing in design thinking, focusing more on the value there. And then the enterprise solution delivery and organizational agility. So as a leader, when you look at this, you can look at it as a holistic picture. Like, some of us have implemented this whole framework at companies, but you can also look at it in bits and pieces and say, okay, where do we need the most help in your areas, in your divisions, or in your entire company? Where are the areas that you can provide benefit with these learnings and certifications that you guys have taken already? That's the way, when I look at this, that's what I get the most out of it.
Yep. And I think you're right, to your point, you can invest in all of these, but where are you going to get the most bang for your buck, or where can you make the most progress? If you have an area that's sort of falling behind, investing in it, focusing on it, and get it back up to where the other ones are. Business agility front and center. And as I talked about before, you know, especially now, companies need to respond quickly to market changes. So Zoom went from 20 million customers to 300 million customers. So clearly they need business agility. You know, companies that make toilet paper, they're under pressure to meet demand. So this business agility being front and center, offering a way, SAFE offers that way for enterprises to focus on customer products and innovation and growth. And I like their view here. As you can see, it's kind of a cutaway view where they're talking about this second operating model, second operating system around value streams instead of departments. So instead of being functionally organized and operating around a functional organization, that we ought to be really operating around value streams. And this is what Kotter calls a dual operating system. So the hierarchy, we shouldn't necessarily throw away the hierarchy, because that can have major ramifications also. But we ought to understand and embrace the hierarchy as it is, but be able to have some speed and innovation. And that's where the value streams come in. So focusing on the value streams, you can still have a hierarchy, but you can make your investment and organize around value streams. I think that's the key here.
Yeah, is everybody familiar with the term value streams? What does that mean? Like, what are the value streams for the companies that you guys work?
That's a great question, Regina. What can you share about value streams?
I can. Well, I would love to find out, like, do you guys know what the value streams in your organizations are?
Give us some examples of what value streams looks like.
So could you put some, like, your products or your services, right?
Yeah.
And from concept to cash. So when you think of those of us that have Six Sigma background, right? The value stream is the steps, concept to cash, to deliver your products or services to your organizations. So you can have product-based value streams, service-based value streams. So if you guys were to give us some examples, right, of what you're delivering to your customers, then the question is, what are the value streams that are providing the most value, that are bringing the most ROI to your organization? And when you look at an organization, you ask, hey, where should we form our agile transformation around? And sometimes the approach is form agile teams, right? Or focus the transformation around the value streams or products and services that are giving the biggest bang for the buck for your organization. And that may change by year or, every couple of years. That's kind of like the approach there when you're coming in to take a look at a transformation. I hope that helps, Leon.
Yep. No, thank you.
I know Ramesh, you got anything else on that one?
No. It's great so far. Just listening in. It's nice to be in the audience.
Hi.
That's just relaxing. He's usually talking, so this is like
Ramesh thinks he's going to get away with just sitting in the back of the bus.
No.
He doesn't remember us?
He's awkward.
I mean, I don't know why Marcelo is attacking me.
That's not how this works around here.
That's all right. We'll get him. We'll get him later. We'll get him. He's exhausted. He's working really hard, so we got to give him a little break.
So another thing I'm really excited about is the business agility self-assessment. So under the measure and grow, it helps you measure the state of business agility in your organization and how to accelerate growth to improve the economic outcomes for your organization. And so this self-assessment is super important because you want to see the areas in which you're doing well. That's good, but then you also want to check out the areas in which you're doing poorly. So on this business agility self-assessment, where is this organization doing poorly, where they need to improve? Who can tell me?
Well, I guess it would be coordinating trains and suppliers.
So yeah, so you can see here, what's the video game back in the day that used to go around?
Tempest.
Yes.
My favorite.
Yes.
Bottom right.
That's my
Yes, exactly. So to me, this is Tempest. So, but clearly the under ESD right there, ESD, Solution and System Engineering, coordinating trade and suppliers right there, that whole area there, that little gap, continuously evolving live systems, strategy, investment funding, all right there. It's zero or it's 1. So it's very, very low. So clearly there needs to be investment in there. And if they're not doing well with solution and system engineering, how do you think that reveals itself in the organization? Who can tell me?
I would say probably poorly because it's creating more risks for the business. If you don't have a good engineering or solutions, that's part of the business. I mean, it's not the only piece, but it definitely would create some risk.
Yep. Do you think there are going to be architecture problems? Do you think there are going to be defects in production?
Yep. You could be doing the wrong things. If you don't have a good architecture, you could be building something that's going to fail.
Yep. So I think this business agility self-assessment really can help point out the areas where additional investment, bang for your buck, is gonna help the organization and help you get to business agility, better business agility than they're doing right now.
So Leon, I don't know if everyone has tried this, but hopefully you've gone to the website and you can actually download this. So it's actually an Excel spreadsheet, and you can actually have people fill it out, and you look like a superstar because you created this form that you took from SAFE, and then give it and distribute. Of course, you want to make sure the flavor of your company, where you're at, and what you need to change it to. And I would also be careful with thinking that the metrics are going to solve all your problems, right? There's the culture that you need to make sure that you're bringing out, so that they're able to accept it in a positive, in a continuous learning fashion, right?
Yep.
Yeah. No, so these are great tools that you guys could download. And there's a ton of assessments for all the different levels of SAFE. As Agile coaches, we're always being asked, how can you show your progress? What metrics are you going to share with us? And we do assessments for teams on a quarterly basis. We sometimes develop our own, but SAFE has some really nice templates there that you guys could do, and you can do them for each of the competencies that we showed before. So these are great. They're out there for you guys that are certified. You can just download them. It shows a lot of value.
Yep. And this, again, like Regina said, this is a great tool so that you can alert your organization that maybe you need to make some investments elsewhere, that, you know, they may think their solution system engineering is fine. But this gives some insight, you know, into some key areas of business agility.
So, quick question, sorry.
Yep.
So in order to read this, where the biggest opening here is where essentially where all the problems are lying, and what's.
Well, yeah, they have the least business agility.
Okay. And then so everything that's in the red is more agile.
Well, it's sort of, yeah, it sort of bounds. In other words, like leading the change, relentless improvement, teams of agile teams. It seems like they're doing good on like leading change and improvement, but they're kind of missing the boat on solution and system engineering.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to be able to look at this and say, okay, that makes sense, and read it better. Okay, thanks.
So want to talk about this new competency, and Rick talked about it before, and I might want Rick to talk about it again, the new competency of a continuous learning culture. So this is the set of values and practices that encourage individuals in the enterprise to continually increase knowledge, competence, performance, innovation, and making it a part of the culture. And I think this is key, is, you know, if you don't have it at all, then what we're doing is SAFE is telling you you need to have it a part of your culture. Creating a learning organization where employees at all levels are learning. You know, this relentless improvement where we're always thinking about how can we improve. Almost a constant sense of danger, where anything can happen overnight and might. In Florida, we're always worried about hurricanes. Don't know what's going to happen. And this idea of an innovation culture where we start off with innovative people and we give them some time and space and we allow them to experiment and we allow them to fail, make experiments. And this idea of innovation riptides, we're really taking advantage of having our delivery inform our discovery. So it's this cycle of delivering, having insights, and then having that inform our discovery. So 3 key things here: learning organization, relentless improvement, and innovative culture around this new competency of a continuous learning culture. Thoughts on this?
So just to add to what you said, it's easier said than done to say, hey, allow people to fail and all that. Keep in mind that leaders are the ones that need to start stepping up and show vulnerability and show that openness, because you're not going to have these people feel comfortable enough to actually do that, right? So there's a lot of trust, there's a lot of open dialogue that needs to happen. And then you got to create a safe environment. You don't want to fail so bad that you destroy your business, right? Yeah. I mean, that is taking the biggest risk. Let's go ahead and play with production for a little while and see how long it's going to take us to bring down production, right? So that whole culture, that whole mindset, it takes time for people to absorb. But I love what you said about feeling that you're threatened every day. Think about if you were to go to work. I know it sounds pretty uncomfortable, but I guess we're feeling it today with all the pressure of losing your job or whatnot. But imagine if you felt like tomorrow you might lose your job, or the competitor's really close to you. You need to try to look outside the box. You need to try to think of things that have never been thought of before. And I love what they say about creative thinkers, and you can't pressure those kind of people. Like providing additional pressure for them to succeed is not a smart thing to do. You're supposed to just create the environment for them to create things, right? You got to give them that space where they're allowed to be creative, right? And then that opens up the door to a lot of learnings and adjusting and pivoting.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot about the space program, right? If you worked in the space program and you have astronauts out there, is there a constant sense of danger? And, you know, people on the ground have lives in their hands. So sort of translating that to the organization and having that mindset. And sometimes if you have that mindset, it could be a detriment. You could have a lot of stress, yes. But it also can be a benefit where like to Rick's point, it allows you to think creatively. You sort of, you have a different pace. So sometimes in large organizations, it can feel like, you know, the earth is barely moving. You want to have that pace where a competitor could take you over, you know, instantly, or anything can change very quickly, and we need to be adaptive to that.
I think when you always get the question from people, hey, so what is Agile, right? For folks that are new to Agile, they ask, what is Agile? And Agile is really a mindset, and mindset of relentless improvement, continuous learning. It's a culture change, a lot more culture change than the multiple frameworks within it, than implementation and processes and best practices. It's a mindset, and it starts with that. So what I love about all these different competencies and these different areas, when you guys look at, oh, you know, we want to implement Agile in an organization, this is looking at it from the enterprise Agile transformation perspective. This is just one of the areas that you want to focus on out of the other many. But Agile is a mindset of continuous improvement and learning, all the way, like Rick was saying, from leadership all the way to the teams.
Yep. And we have another new competency, organizational agility. And so now we're looking at the organization in terms of agility. So looking for about people in Agile teams, optimizing their business processes, evolving their strategy, capitalizing on new opportunities. So focusing on lean thinking people in Agile teams. So it's not just people, it's people that are thinking about how can we lean our activities, our processes, our organization with the bedrock of the House of Lean, Agile Manifesto, and SAFe principles. And focusing also on strategy agility. So making sure that as an organization, our organizational strategy is also agile and it's easy to pivot. We don't want to be like an aircraft carrier in the ocean where it takes days for us to even make a turn. And then lean business operations, where teams apply lean principles to understand and map and improve their business processes that support business products. And again, the cost of delay, you see the clock and the exclamation point right there. That cost of delay, that delay time is so detrimental to organizational agility. Really focusing on that is going to improve your organizational agility and ultimately your business agility. Comments, questions, thoughts on this one?
Any questions? I know we got a couple of Kanban coaches on the call. And so this part really focuses on that lean thinking part of it. And it does incorporate a lot of Kanban principles that SAFe has brought in as well.
Yep. So, and we talked earlier about Essential SAFe. So the program and team levels are now combined into Essential SAFe here, into kind of like one level with 5.0. And so, again, as Regina said, there are a lot of similar things. There's not a lot of major changes, but you're seeing it all in one level, Essential SAFe. So it's all in one level, all in one tab right there.
I'm just curious what people think. Do they like it or do they not like it? Like, how do I get that,
well, let's
that
ask.
sense? How about just give, I mean, some of us are in video, some of us are not. How
give
about
us
just doing
give
this?
us a thumbs up.
If you like
give us
it,
a thumbs up. Yeah.
Right. If you don't like it, go like this. If you're halfway, like, I don't really care, Rick.
It's simple, it's easy to understand. When you look at it, do you know?
I'm looking around. I'm looking halfway. Some people doing this, like a fish. I don't know. Some good.
Yeah.
Some doing this. All right. And then, okay. So they're in the middle. You got some that like it, some in the middle, and some that don't like it.
I agree with Regina. I just think it makes it more complicated for someone who's first learning this to have everything combined. You know, it seemed like a little easier to swallow the team and then the program.
So you're agreeing with Regina and you're disagreeing with me. Is that what you're saying? I mean,
I don't know what you said, Rick. I agree with Regina.
If
You women are sticking together, aren't you?
over Regina, I would question their logic.
That's true.
No, so I mean, like I said, for me, when I'm looking at this now, like when I teach it, I actually have to draw it out and I start from the bottom up just to make it a little bit more simpler. But Ramesh, I wanted to check something with you. So I saw a video a while back when we went to 5.0. I think it was Dean saying that the reason why they combined it, I guess they kind of assumed that organizations that were implementing SAFe already had agile teams already in place, and that was like already like a known foundation, and that now it was they were focusing more on the program level. Is that correct? Did I see the right video? Did I see the wrong video?
Yeah, the primary intent why they actually merged the team versus program level is because team cannot survive without program level, program survive without team level. It doesn't make any sense in a practical way. Yes, teaching wise, I go through the same struggle, but I'm taking extra step during the classes to actually explain them what is the team level and what is the program level, because we are not so used to using the word essential SAFe. Essential SAFe was something different before in version 3, 4, and 4.5, right?
Yep.
So going back again, the whole concept what SAFe is trying to do is from a business agility standpoint of view, based on what Leon mentioned, this is the fundamental block. Without essential SAFe block, forget about every other thing. Competencies, everything doesn't matter.
Correct.
To deliver a product, this is what, that's from that point of view, they're trying to, guide the people. That's the thought process.
Yep.
But yeah, they're having a hard time explaining that. I saw that too, but
Yes.
that's the intent behind,
You cannot have chips without salsa.
Yep.
So now it's in one place.
It's in one.
So, but I like what people are saying. If I'm teaching this, I might talk about 4.5 with team and program level, and then show this, right? So they understand the evolution.
Also, another technique that helped us a lot with teaching is basically, I know most of the folks who are coming for SAFe trainings, kind of they are expected to know fundamentals of Agile, basics, Scrum, Kanban, whatever it is. But it would be prudent just to take few minutes off, like Regina mentioned, and explain them. Hey guys, it's not a standalone block, but this is what team agility is about. It's a competency in itself. So we can actually take advantage of that and explain. But there is no separate questions coming from this team level versus that program level. Right. It's essential.
Yep.
So something to keep in mind,
Yep. Okay, and now I'm going to go through some, I'll call it revamped competencies. So team and technical agility. So there are three parts to team and technical agility. So agile teams, of course, to Ramesh, to what he was talking about. Agile teams, building in quality or built-in quality, and teams of agile teams. And this is all about the agile release train, a key to SAFe. So making sure that we have high-performing cross-functional teams, teams of agile teams operating within a SAFe agile release train or an ART, and then also building in quality, making sure that we have defined agile practices, and we have key things like pairing and peer review, automation, etc., that we're always investing in quality. Questions, comments on this?
I guess I have a question. How many of you on this call are in organizations that are implementing SAFe or a flavor of SAFe, or that are doing PI planning and bringing agile teams together to plan quarterly? So we got one.
I see one hand up only, Regina, out of the whole group, just so you know.
Okay, and so Omar, do you want to share a little bit about what your organization is doing? And sorry I called you Omar, I know you're George, my apologies.
Actually, I prefer Omar, so it doesn't bother me. To be honest, they have implemented SAFe right now. We're about to have our PI planning next week virtually, so I will keep you posted on that. But I would say that we're implementing a taste of SAFe, because at least from the program level, the way it's supposed to work, that they are supposed to give the features down to the team level, it doesn't happen that way. In the way that we're doing it in our company, it goes the other way up. It goes from the team level to the program level.
Okay.
And then the RTE, along with the program manager, the product manager, are evaluating the features that each team is going to be working on.
Rick and Regina, it makes me think maybe a good future session should be how to do remote PI planning.
Yeah,
I love that.
actually, so I'm going to be interviewing some folks from another organization that did their first 100% virtual PI planning. So I think maybe Omar will include you guys in that. That's a great meetup.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'd like to do that.
Yeah, because yeah, go ahead, Omar.
Oh, no, I was just saying, count me in.
Yeah. I think people are trying to figure this out. So I think we can all come together with some ideas.
Awesome. And the company where I'm at, we're doing that for the first time in June. And so we're planning for that. And that's close to 100 people.
Oh.
Yep.
100%. We're excited.
Yeah, just so folks know, this month is May.
No, in June. Next month is June.
I know. I'm just letting people know that this is May right now.
Oh, thank you. What day is today? What day is it today?
Yes, what day is it today?
Hey,
another
It's hard when you've been in a cave for a month and a half.
Oh.
Yes.
I was gonna ask you a quick question. Sorry.
Sure.
You know, I think I asked Regina this question before too in our class. I'm just kind of curious, that maybe off the top of your head, what are some big organizations or some organizations that you know that fully use SAFe and you know, has seen some success stories out of it?
So, Regina and Rick, you want to answer that?
I shared some that we know about, but there's a lot more. I know Matt can also, chime in. I know at Nextera was one of the ones that was implementing that. Royal Caribbean, my understanding is from people that have come to our trainings that a couple of their divisions have been implementing SAFe. I think we got Juana. Got on the line. You guys were implementing SAFe, correct?
Not my group. We were doing a flavor of SAFe. This is a full, like respecting the full SAFe is another group.
Okay, another group within Royal Caribbean?
Within Royal Caribbean, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know Royal Caribbean was quite big.
When I was working for Subway or IPC Subway, we were doing SAFe for at least the time that I was there. So I think that was also very, eye-opening for them to go through that.
Yeah, and I think Marcelo, we heard recently, I thought World Fuel was doing a flavor of it, or that they did some pilots.
Yeah, I think there's a lot.
I had some friends at World Fuel, and I think you're right. I think they did a small version.
Actually, having been there, they were trying their hand at using Spotify's model. They had some very small measure of progress with that, but I believe that effort actually has floundered since then.
Yeah. So what I would recommend is go to the SAFe website, and you should see a whole bunch of case studies there.
Okay.
That actually tell you a ton of different groups that have done it, and their success stories. Those statistics that they come up with, those are statistics from true case studies. They're not. I know they sound pretty crazy, but they're not made up. They actually come from real numbers. They come from
companies like Citibank. SAFe, a lot of white papers on Citibank. There's some
Chase.
Chase,
Chase, JP Morgan Chase. So I mean, we were focusing on Florida and like the Miami area, but there's plenty around the country.
Okay. Yeah, when I was at Nextera, I know that they only really did the PI planning part of SAFe. They didn't do the other parts of it.
Wow. So yeah, I think there's a lot of people not doing it completely, and there's a lot of questions behind whether that's the right way of doing it or not. And different coaches have different opinions on that. I always believe that sometimes you have to do it the way they tell you to do it, so that you learn from it, and then from there, shuhari, right, where you start pivoting and adjusting. But you do need to get that initial learning to say, this is what they mean by that. I mean, a lot of experts have gone through it. Why reinvent it at this point?
Right.
And then the biggest question that we always get is like, oh my goodness, how do you get buy-in, right? Buy-in is the most important thing, and you got to get buy-in from the leadership. Especially something that's going to hit enterprise-wide type of changes. It is a culture change. It is.
And the biggest challenge that I would give you guys is every time you hear about any of these ceremonies, I don't care whether it's SAFe, I don't care if it's Scrum, I don't care if it's Kanban, I don't care. You have to always ask why. You need to be able to answer why and truly believe why. Because if you don't get the why and you're just going through this and you don't understand that there's a reason behind why you're doing these things, it's not going to really sit in. It's not going to really sit in. So question it. Don't sit back and say, I'm gonna actually ask the strong questions. Go ahead, sorry, Leo.
No, I think it's a good point. As an Agilist, even though we've been doing this and know it works, other people don't and haven't had that experience. So you need to take them through that experience, just like you would starting brand new. So there's another revamped competency, Agile project delivery. And there are, again, 3 key areas, customer centricity and design thinking. Again, that's new. Putting the customer at the center of every decision. And then thinking about the solution being desirable, feasible, viable, and sustainable. And develop on cadence, release on demand. So we want to work in a cadence. We want to develop software for software in a cadence, but then we want to release on demand or release when business conditions are favorable, or we want to be able to release whenever we want to release, versus if it's once a quarter or 1,000 times a day. It makes sense to the business.
I think that's the biggest one that people always get confused. They always say, well, SAFe is going to slow down what you deliver. Nope. Look at that big structure. And it is heavy and it is a lot of things. And you're like, oh my goodness. But when you say things like you can release on demand, if you really have your pipeline set up properly, that changes the ballpark. It's not holding things back. It's not restricting you from doing the things you need to do to be, competitive in the market.
Yep. And then DevOps and the continuous delivery pipeline. So the idea of DevOps and a calmer sort of acronym, the Agile release train, thinking about continuous exploration, looking for items that you could go ahead and automate, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and then being able to have all that work together to be able to release on demand. And really, to me, this is kind of, leaning the pipeline from a technical perspective, getting all the waste out of the pipeline, removing manual deployments, getting to automated deployments, things like that. Really focusing on there. The investments that you're doing here will pay off. Another revamped competency is lean portfolio management. So 3 key areas, again, strategy and investment funding, agile portfolio operations, and lean governance. And so all of this is working together, and this is maybe part of the management part of our word cloud, where we're making sure that, we are intentional about our strategy and investment funding, and looking, again, with sort of the lean mindset, and then making sure that in our portfolio that is aligned with our strategy and investment funding, and then we're governing in a very lean way, that we don't have tons of projects out there that don't have an ROI to it, for example. And we're making sure that we can forecast and have that oversight.
Yeah, and in 5.0, they've done a great job in revamping this topic. If you guys know, there's a new certification called Lean Portfolio Management. It is a great class, by the way. For those of you that are looking at transforming your traditional project management office into an agile PMO, it kind of walks you through the steps and the competencies that would have. We've got an Agile Lean Center of Excellence as well, included within that. And then the different roles and responsibilities for the governance piece of it, and making the governance a lot more leaner than what we were used to in the traditional environment. It teaches value streams. It teaches, how to identify business value, how to build portfolios. It really goes into the portfolio lean management piece of it, which is it's a great new class. And that's new in 5.0. They've done a much better job in that now.
And Regina, I think you guys are offering that class. Is that correct?
That's coming up. You guys could see that. And we're offering some discounts too if you guys are interested.
Yep.
A lot of good value in there. So.
And another revamped competency is the enterprise solution delivery. Again, they kind of remade this, and we're focusing on lean system and solution engineering, coordinating trains and suppliers. And I think that's really key, is that, especially if we have suppliers out there, if we have, third-party stuff, we want to have a shared business and technical vision. So we have to have that coordinated vision, backlogs, and roadmaps, especially with our suppliers, aligning all that. And then continuously evolving live systems. All of these are live. They are constantly live. And we want to make sure that we understand them as live systems, that they are continuously evolving, and we want to continually evolve them. So we want to think about that, that intention of evolution, and that continuous improvement mindset. And then lean agile leadership. And I like this a lot because I talk a lot about leaders go first, leading by example. Not leaders sit back in a boardroom and look at PowerPoints. We need leaders to go first, to move from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, to lead change. Thinking about what are our conditions do I need to make for change? I'm responsible for creating a change environment. And then leading by example, having that authenticity, decentralizing decision-making down to where the information is, having that autonomy, mastery, and purpose, that type of an idea here. Having leaders emulate this behavior, seeing that this is important for them and the organization, and then acting on it.
So Leon, I love what you said about decentralized decision-making. So we do that a lot with some of the exercises I do with the executives. That's a tough exercise to run.
Yep.
Because you're telling them, why are you doing all this? Why does it take all these steps to finally get approved by you? Why aren't you letting go of some of this stuff? They're so used to it. They feel like that's the way they provide value.
Mm-hmm.
They don't realize that, letting go of that actually empowers the teams to be able to move a lot faster.
Yep.
But it's having that conversation. So here's the funny part. Great. I want to release some of my things to you as my subordinate. Yeah. But guess what? You have to prove yourself to say, I'm ready to tackle this on. It's not just like, I'm going to give you the kitchen sink and you're just going to run the business. So there's a contract that you do with your teammates to say, I will release this if I see these things happening. It's like trust is not built in one day. Guess what? Delegating your work is not built in one day. You're going to have to work through that. So a lot of good sessions are run to do that, but it's very intense, very intense.
Yep. Agree 100%. Trust is at the foundation.
Yes.
Business teams. So we have business teams, especially in large organizations. There are business teams that SAFe supports. Now the enterprise business teams are on the train, and we're recognizing that now. And I think now with business teams there, we want to continually engage the business in SAFe. The more we have the business engaged with SAFe, I think, the more the SAFe framework really comes alive. And you're getting to that business agility. Literally, it's business teams, business agility. And so we want to think about their evolution also. And so I'm very happy and excited that SAFe incorporated business teams into 5.0.
Yeah, so I love this because Agile is no longer just for IT teams.
Yep.
When we're transforming an organization and we build that roadmap, you might start out with your technology teams, but then very quickly we move into the business agility side and we start implementing Agile in marketing, in HR, in finance, in accounting, in operations. And we mix in the different types of frameworks, whatever fits to the processes, their day-to-day business processes. So this is really great. That's the full scope of going Agile at an enterprise level.
And it's a simple formula, guys. All we do is we ask the business, what is your pain point? And we've got so many tools to work to help you with those pain points that it's just like a given. Oh, you're not talking to each other. Have a retro. Oh, you need to understand each other a little faster because you need to pivot. Hey, have a stand-up. Right? There's so many little things that we've learned as doing Agile and working through it and figuring it out that we start encompassing that in our recommendations as we're working with these business people. I hate the concept, no, we can't do Agile in our world. Because they think of Agile as dedicated teams, all working, you know, cross-functional, and that's the only way you could do agile. They're not even looking at the mindset. They're not even looking at the things that are happening behind the scenes to help them, you know, communicate, improve, and learn, and continuous, you know, failing fast, all these great things that we've been talking about.
Yeah. And then, you know, lack of transparency and visibility. There's so many great best practices just to help out with that alone. Silos, you know, how do you work better with cross-functional departments, with your other departments that your folks are working with on a day-to-day basis? Again, those are the different type of pain points that are applied to every organization and also the departmental level.
So now there's a new theme, customer centricity, and that's all right there. And it's really the foundation of, you know, SAFe is having the customer in the middle, the customer right there. Understanding market research, understanding user research, thinking about personas like Carry the Consumer, and asking the questions. Does the program backlog relate to our consumers? Do the PI objectives relate? You know, thinking about iteration planning and having our users, our customers, our consumers, our personas throughout each stage of the SAFe framework. And when you do that, then it can be relatable. We can start to relate the work that we're doing to our customers. And this is what I like about this, is always talking about our customers at each stage of the process.
How many of you have taken design thinking classes?
Yeah, design thinking.
Or how many of your organizations are putting that into practice?
I'm looking for hands, Regina. I'm not seeing two. I got one hand.
One hand.
And that is
So
it.
yeah, when I was
Two
working
hands.
at Harris, we did design thinking. They had a whole innovation room. It was great. It's a great process. I loved it. They have a UX team that was pretty involved with the design thinking that we were doing. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, sometimes design thinking is like limited to like only UX people, only user experience people. And I think I want to see this throughout the organization, you know, because it doesn't have to be just UX.
Right.
All teams should be talking about this. And it's not just starting with empathy and you're done. It's really, you know, talking about, do customers and users want the solution? Are we even like, are we testing that? You know, are we doing some discovery? You know, the diverge, converge process. And so really an understanding, and this pairs so nicely with customer centricity, is really understanding the customer and understanding the pain points a customer has, and then designing the right solution for the customer and then testing that all throughout the process.
Yep.
So the discover, define, develop, deliver, along with making our products desirable, feasible, viable, and sustainable.
Love it. We've got agile teams that are doing design thinking sprints, and they've incorporated that into that, and that's really cool that they're doing that, because they've taken it into their agile process.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
yeah, the way that I think about it is the whole design thinking is to, you know, flesh out, you know, your requirements and build out user stories from it. And then once you get that, you build in your lean processes to find out what's going to be good. And then it ties in with your execution and how you run your sprints and agile.
Yep.
So it kind of all ties it all together. So yeah.
So if you guys look at the essential framework, right, you see how it's on the left top corner of the essential box. At the program level, when you're looking at the continuous exploration on, hey, what are the features that we're working on? How do you solution and analyze and prioritize those features? They're now implementing some of these techniques in order to even come up with new features at that level.
But I want to include what Joe just said, which was really interesting, because it ties in so well together, and we have to be very careful, because you can't get stuck in design thinking the whole time and 2 years pass by and then we end up doing waterfall again, right? So there's that great balance that you need to make sure that you're encompassing, because there are learnings that you want to take all the way down and say, let's see it in production, and let's get the team to execute on that so that we can get quick learnings. right? So great example there. Thank you.
Yeah, design thinking is nothing unless you have a way to execute it, right, through Agile. Yeah,
There's-
absolutely.
These guys are doing 5-day design thinking sprints.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're encompassing it in the sprint of the team, which is an interesting flavor of that. It's not
Yeah,
even
that's
just, it's a different.
And they don't do it all the time. It's just when they got something new coming in, they're using that technique and they're scheduling it out.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'd like to see that. That's cool.
And for me, design thinking, again, really works well when you're testing throughout, and especially testing back with the customer. New core principle number 10, organizing around value. So if you don't know the 9, it starts with taking an economic view. So it's all about the business, even starting right here. And to me, it starts with taking an economic view. And right now, number 10 is organizing around value. So everything we do, we should be asking ourselves, to Rick's point, we should be almost like questioning ourselves just to make sure that everything resonates with the organization that we're in. But we always ought to be talking about, is this valuable? Are we organized around around value? Are we organized around value streams? Is what we're doing valuable? And that should be something safe that organizations should be able to say, that developers should be able to say, is what we're working on valuable? And have we organized around value? Are we doing the most valuable thing? So we should be talking about value every day. And I think SAFe really calls us out and saying, not only should we be talking about value every day, we should be organizing around value. And that's that kind of that second level, organization.
Leon, I'm going to double click on that because it's funny, because some people think as soon as you set the Agile teams, that's it. You've organized around value, you are awesome. That's a waterfall approach, believe it or not. If you don't rethink how teams are formed and rethink, is this the right way of work coming to the pipe, and has our industry changed? Should we rethink that? Of course, you need to make sure you're not doing that every single week, because then you're just reallocating resources, right? And you're back to that whole, you want to keep that synergy. But it's just an interesting conversation to have, to say, are we really organized that way? That's great.
And I think for me, like, the definition of value from your customers change. And A, you ought to recognize that. And then B, you ought to say, how can we adapt so that we can be delivering our customers' new definition of value as that changes?
Yeah, I see a lot of organizations talking about value. As an employee, what kind of value are you delivering? As the business, what kind of value are we delivering for our customers? So it's a lot of people talking about value and what we can do to show our value.
Yep. If Apple comes out with a new iPhone, what's going to make you want to upgrade your iPhone or buy a new iPhone? That's going to be different. People's expectations are changing. So if another iPhone comes out and not much has changed, people are going to buy that? Are they going to think it's valuable?
No,
I think it depends on, to answer your question, it really depends on the customer itself. Mm-hmm. There are people who are innovators or people who are like the first to just try something out.
Yep.
So it really depends on you getting to know your client,
mm-hmm.
and it's you have to know your market, I guess, instead of your client. You also have to know your market. Apple does this every year because they know that there's Apple fanboys. There's Samsung knows that there's Samsung fanboys. So it depends on your knowledge of your market and your client to see how if you're probably not adding as much value. But then if you know your client, you know that they want the latest and greatest.
Yep.
So for software, it's, am I giving my client the best I can? But then in technology, like a cell phone, for your example, it depends on how well do I know my client base and how well do I know that will sell.
Yep. I think it's a good point. Thank you, Omar.
Can I ask a question, or I know time-wise, I want to make sure I'm not holding you back. Quick.
Rick, you can never hold me back.
Okay, so the only thing that I was concerned a little bit about when we talk about value and we talk about individual value, and we got to be so careful with some of that stuff, because you might think that you're only providing a certain value here, but the synergy that you're creating as a team is so amazing and so powerful. So it's the collaborative effort that we're looking at. And sometimes and I know everybody likes to hear this, resources. We're looking at resources and we're looking at them being busy all the time. And we're not really looking at that value going across. Everybody's worried about how over allocated are my resources and making sure they have enough work to do, compared to looking at that value going across saying cha-ching, cha-ching, right? So again, be careful. I get a lot of executives saying, I want to know each person and how much value each person's doing so that I can evaluate whether I need to get rid of them now.
So, hey, Rick,
Yeah, that's so true.
with your
Yes.
permission, if I can just add quick 1 minute, background on that whole number 10 principle, where the origins are. Most of the companies have started safe transformations. They have been doing agile for a while, fantastic. But when it comes to actually forming the trains, the team of teams, they are still following their traditional teams, the traditional structure, the siloed structure of this is my dev team 1, dev team 2, because they don't want to make changes, because in agile change is dangerous. That was the misconception. So that's where this whole concept of, hey, you can do all the 9 principles, but if you do not have your teams configured in such a way that all the dependencies are contained within, it's a disaster. You are still at the same place. There's nothing changing. You think that you are doing safe, you think that you're doing, and then finally it goes to the blame game of safe is failing instead of looking under. And it's nothing new. This organize around value used to be in the first slide of the team and technical agility chapter, my team level. So what they did was, no, it is so important that we need to emphasize. So let's move it to number 10. That was the thought process, basically.
Yeah.
So be prepared, guys. If you're in the leadership role, to have a successful transformation under the auspices of SAFE, for example, you should be ready to adjust your configuration of teams to be self-dependent to the best of your abilities. You cannot continue with the same structure of teams, but then train them on Agile, give them the courses and expect transformation to be successful. The coaches will be going through hellhole at that time, you know.
Correct.
That's all. Go ahead. Please.
Well said, Ramesh. Thank you. There are also some House of Lean updates. So we've added some things, and we've put a red box around some of the additions or changes. So a generative culture under respect for people and culture, moving from projects to products. I think this is very, very big. We want to get away. We want to get away from projects, and we want it to be talking about products. We want to invest in products. Innovation, that we have innovative people. We invest in innovation with people. We have experimentation and feedback. And we have innovation riptides where our delivery outputs inform our discovery. And this idea of relentless improvement where we have a culture of problem solving and base improvements on facts. And I think data versus intuition or gut. And then the down there at the bottom, I think we sort of highlighted, is that leaders apply lean thinking as a basis for decision making. They model the lean agile mindset in their daily activities, and they teach it to others. So lean agile leadership is about also teaching and really inculcating that, really embedding that in your soul.
So I love this, Leon. The part where it says move from projects to products. Sometimes where you're first implementing Agile, that doesn't happen from day one, right? So you still have your traditional project management offices that they're funding projects, but that doesn't prevent you from bringing together Agile teams. It does not. You can start the implementation, but then at some point when you start getting more mature as an organization, and when you start getting more buy-in for leadership, start looking at your funding model. You know, and looking at how can we get leaner and better with our funding models, so we don't have to do these stops and starts, and then, you know, you want to be able to flow and continue and have the decision-making cycle be a lot more smoother. So the lean portfolio management class, going back to that one, has some great topics on how to move away from our traditional funding model into these new product fundings. And going back to the value stream conversation that we talked about before, it's got some great techniques on how to do that. And it's really about how do you have that conversation at that leadership level, because that's not simple to have. You got to get the leaders involved, the decision makers. You got to get the financial department involved, because a lot of the pressure comes from finance and the way that they traditionally do their books and they manage things. There's some great new best practices around that as well. And so where we're at, we've been working with finance in the way that they've been reporting, even from the team level. But this part is pretty big. And the problem-solving culture under relentless improvement, we really like that. And at the end of PI planning, the retrospective ceremony, it's the inspect and adapt team's perspective. What are some problems that go across the entire program that impact multiple teams? And they've got some great problem solving workshops in that ceremony. How are we doing with time, Leanne? Are we doing okay, or okay? Sorry. Oh.
I got a suggestion. Just for that little piece alone, I think we should have another meeting on just that, because I'm curious on how it goes from projects to products and what's involved, and is it fixed rate? And is it? I think that would be a good topic for a next meetup.
Let's add it. Let's add it. And then lastly, the implementation roadmap update. So we put in boxes here. You see the measure and grow up in the upper right there, lean portfolio management, and agile product management. So not agile project management, agile product management. So these are now additions to the implementation roadmap for SAFe. And then also don't forget the accelerate down there. So we're making sure that we are accelerating. We don't want to be in a steady state. We want to have relentless improvement, and we want to continue to accelerate. So I know we've been doing Q&A throughout. I'll put the courses up there. Don't forget we have Agile coming up this weekend, along with a number of other classes there. What other questions and comments do you have? And we're right at 7:30.
Was this helpful? Did this help you guys out in understanding the 5.0 updates? How many of you have done your 5.0 enablement already? Raise your hand.
No one, Regina. It's just you.
Okay, so everybody is on the art train. That'll make him feel better tomorrow when we have our senior coaches meeting.
Okay. All right. So don't forget the process to go online, update your profile, go through the SPC enablement. Once you go through the SPC enablement, whatever SAFe certifications you have will automatically go up to 5.0. So if you guys can go ahead and take a look at that, for those of you that have like the 4.6 or the 4.0 original certifications. It's easy. They have some great webinars, and everything that Leon showed in this presentation, they have the webinars, they have the release notes. They've got some great videos out there for you guys.
This is really, really helpful. Thank you so much. It really gives me kind of a bird's eye view of what I'm in for when I log on and start going through all the paperwork and take the test. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right, guys. Leon, you good?
Yes. Yeah, you know, for me, this was helpful for me. So again, taking a bird's eye view of 5.0, and then this allows me now to take a deeper dive into the areas, and then really to myself and the organizations that I'm coaching, really focus on some key things, especially to me, you know, the continuous learning culture and organizational agility. Really trying to emphasize that, and kind of showing the executives that with SAFe 5.0, there needs to be investments in this.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So we've got our discount code there. Let us know if you guys have any questions on the upcoming classes, or what's the best class for you to take for those of you that have it. Reach out to us, please. We're always here to help you out, okay?